Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com. In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the last weekender before Christmas.
Yes,
It's almost time to get our gaming goodies.
it is. We might be popping up. Possibly, we're going to break now for Christmas. Okay, we'll be back in the new year. The first weekend, I think, in January. Not the 4th, but we're coming back on the 4th. Now we're going to go into it.
He means the week, whatever the weekend is after the 4th of January.
So it's we're doing all. As you can see, we have all of our decorations and stuff up.
Yeah,
Justin, do you want to talk a bit about the decorations? What, you don't electrocute yourself?
Oh, don't.
What?
I see what's in your hand.
Oh! Woohoo!
We actually had a Christmas party where Warren decided it would be great fun to sneak up behind me and put one of those off right beside my ear.
Oh,
But you're half deaf anyway, Justin, so what difference did it make?
Sorry, what?
yeah.
Exactly.
Right, so-
Wait, just before we get stuck in. So, I'm here with Warren.
Yes.
I'm here with Justin. I'm here with myself, Lloyd. And let's say hello to Ben,
Hi, Ben.
Hello, everybody.
the tiny floating head.
With
Yeah.
his Santa hat on.
Yes, Ben, you're looking very Christmassy.
I am, yes. Resplendent in my Christmas wear, yes.
Right.
Okay, so just a little bit of update. We are breaking for Christmas, okay, but we do have a full schedule of stuff planned for Christmas. I'll be talking more about it in the XLBS tomorrow. But if you enjoy some 40k, you're going to have a bit of a treat because we have a themed week kicking off next week. We have Mechanicus week kicking off, and then the weekend after that for our backstagers, we have the Kakaradon weekend. So all of that is coming. But like I said, I'll be talking more about that. We might,
In the backstage.
yes, we might pop in on Boxing Day and Boxing Day if we can get up. We might pop in on Boxing
That's
Day
dedication.
just to do a little XLBS and just to do a little shout out to the backstagers.
Boxing Day, I plan to be comatose with turkey. I plan just to be on the sofa going, no more turkey for me.
So we'll just drag you in by your feet then.
Anyway, for this show, I have a ton of stuff that I want to talk about, and that's before we even get to the ton of stuff that you guys have to talk about. First up, I just want to put another shout out that the nominations for the 2015 Annual Gaming Awards are now underway. We have had thousands of submissions, but I would like to get more. I'm hoping to get as many and as broad a list of nominations for each of the categories as possible, because I think that the more breadth we have in the nominations, the more interesting the votes will be. Because of these nominations, we will be taking the most popular, provided they fit with the category and fit with the time scales. We'll be taking those nominations, and providing there's no cheating or whatever, we will be checking all of that. We'll be taking those nominations and we will condense that into a list of the finalists, and then we'll be putting up the actual voting, the proper voting for the 2015 awards. So
this is this is the pre-vote almost, but we're not actually voting. You're making your suggestions. So there's a big form that you fill out and you say,
yes,
this is what I suggest.
So if you go to the website and look for this page here, you'll see the whole big thing on the homepage of the 2015 Gaming Awards. We will be bumping that up to the top during the course of the next days. Go on there and submit your nominations for each of the categories, or just the categories that you have nominations for. You don't feel you have to fill them all in. But if you do, and you pop in your email address, we will be picking one lucky random winner who will win a big Beasts of War mystery box full of stuff, board games, terrain, stuff like that there. So we're going to be gathering a whole bunch of stuff and putting it in there, and you will win a very, very cool thing. And that will be from a random winner from the nominations and the voting. So one random winner from that.
I would say one thing. If you are planning to nominate someone, do not be scared to actually support them and share the posts from Facebook to all your friends saying, support my game, and actually help your game win.
Yeah. You know, it's worth going out because I did this on Facebook. I went onto my Facebook and said, "Look, we have this up and running. Can anybody help me reach out to the indie developers and stuff like that? Because you know, you don't want it to always be about the big guys that we all know about. You want to get the indies in there because whether they win it or not, you don't know, because whenever it actually gets to that voting stage and people are looking down at all the nice pictures and stuff like that, you know, somebody might go, well, actually, I've never heard of that, but that looks fabulous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to vote for that. So, you know, it's as democratic an awards. This is the People's Choice Awards. This is the Oscars of gaming, but it's as democratic as we could possibly make it. You know, and our sample size, you know, we have sample size of thousands. So our sample size is often more than what they use in most polling for the general election. So,
Exactly.
that's not bad. You know, I'm quite happy with that. Anyway, so far so good. Always want more though. So even if you only can think of a couple of the categories that you have something to say or to vote or to nominate, please get in there and do that. If you're an indie company, rile your fans up. Get them on Facebook, rile them up and get it filled in because it's a challenge just to get onto the shortlist, okay? So you'll do it. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself onto that shortlist because you never know. Once it goes to the public vote, your stuff is there in front of people.
Sounds
and
good.
You never know.
The
Fingers
other
crossed,
thing
you
is,
never know.
if you're just a gamer, don't be so scared to actually say to your friends, look, I love this game, you love this game, don't forget to vote for it. I want to see it win.
Remember, it's the nominations phase. This is not about the winners. This is about choosing the finalists, okay?
Yeah, so between now and late January, when the awards will go out,
Yeah.
there will be another page appear where you actually vote for what you want to win based on the data that we've
Yes,
gathered.
the actual vote page will be going up probably around the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And it'll run for a period of about 14 to 20 days, during which everybody can cast their votes on who they think should win, and then the awards ceremony will start. And can I just remind you as well that we are in the forums on Beasts of War. If you fancy getting involved on awards night, okay, and you fancy getting dressed up at home and inviting some of your gamer buddies and stuff around and having some drinks and having some bets on who you think is going to win each category, at this stage, we're thinking of doing the awards night in kind of a live kind of a scenario. So we will be releasing the winners periodically through the evening, okay?
Yes.
And in between times, what we'll be doing is broadcasting on Periscope or some kind of a live medium, little mini shows from the green room and from in here, and hopefully connecting to you guys who are having awards parties at home. I'm bringing you up on screen and having a chat with you guys and saying, so who do you think is going to win the next category?
Which is cool. Think of it as if we're kind of like the themed weekends we do, where we use the event system.
Yeah.
And then one post would be nominees for board games or whatever the category is, and then we could have maybe another one then announcing the winners and stuff, so as we can have a bit of banter in between hand and stuff like that. And then we'll possibly stitch it all together into some sort of show. Then it maybe goes out later.
Yes, maybe at the very end we'll pull it all together into a single show that we put out, and then if you just want to sit and watch through the awards ceremony,
depending on how we do
that.
it, though, it may not be that night.
Yeah.
Because if we decide we want to edit in some of the stuff we've done, it wouldn't be that night. But if we decide not to edit in any of the stuff we've done and have it a bit more, minus the evening, it might go out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But we're working on that.
Anyway, it's awards season. Get stuck in, get involved. Make your nomination count, and then make your vote count. That's all I can say on the matter. I have a teaser.
A teaser.
I have a teaser.
We're not moving on to news, or we are moving on to
We're
news?
moving on to news, but this is teaser news. Okay. Literally minutes before we came on air, okay, I got a couple of pictures dropped into my mailbox by the guys over at Foreground.
Oh.
It's here. It's something we've been waiting on for a long time.
This?
Check this out.
Hang on. That's a Warhound.
That certainly is a Warhound. That is a Mars pattern Warhound,
That's
to be
huge.
exact. Yeah, bring it back up, Lloyd, to have a look at this. So this is the new 28mm scale external detail building facades. So you'll be able to build. Look at that! Look, do you see the Space Marine?
Yeah.
See him? So this is it. This is basically the 28 mil scale city facades now that we're going to be looking at.
So
I see we have windows and stuff as well.
Yes,
so they have the clear film
there's
windows
glass
or something.
and all in it. So the way they're doing this, and to make it affordable at this stage, remember it's not released yet. This is a teaser for it.
Let's see the full image again, then, Justin.
yeah.
The way they're planning on doing this is it's just for creating exteriors, and you can build up the exteriors whatever way you decide to.
Right. So hang on. Knowing you're going to want to do something crazy. Are you going to build a city board out of this?
Absolutely. Interesting, actually, because I've just been in the process of starting to lay out a city board because we're hoping to do next year another 40k kind of battle report.
Yep.
We're planning one for after we
we
get
have a
back.
picture here.
Yeah. We're planning one for after we get back from Kakaradon weekend of Mechanicus versus Kakaradons. But we've had a ding under Ben. But this one here is for another future one that we're looking at doing. So I've actually started to put together. So I still have a fair bit of work to do on this board.
Yeah, but that looks quite nice as is. But
imagine
if you're building it with this stuff,
this stuff
Ben,
just mental.
let me
Yes.
bring you into the conversation, and I'll bring you up. What do you think of this?
I think this is some of the coolest stuff they've done. I think it's going to work for a whole bunch of different things as well. Like, you could see this in modern, you could see this in sci-fi stuff as well. I mean, one of the things they joked about when they sent over the images was you could do something to do with like Godzilla with this would be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to
even
do
the
a
Batman
Kickstarter.
miniatures game and stuff like
Yes,
that. There, I
Batman
think
would
that
be
this
awesome,
would be this would suit that just
Look.
right down to the ground. So
Look at the size of it compared to the ruins of Daldor.
Yeah.
I know
Oh,
it's
massive!
you go like you take one of them Warhound Titans sits about this height.
Yeah, and it's
off
about
the table,
2.5 times
you
the
know?
height.
And it's up to here.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
There's a serious storage problem for this.
No,
I don't know. I
no,
think it's going to make incredible feature tables.
it'll be modular as well. But as I said, the focus is on the exterior. It's not about interior detail the way that Foreground normally do their stuff,
Yes.
and that's in order to make
Well,
it actually affordable.
I'll bring
that
it
you
up
can-
again.
You can build a table with it.
Because you can see it's in segments, obviously. So
Yeah.
But you're still going to need pretty, even when you break it down. Go to close up, please, Justin.
Yeah, I'm going.
You're probably still going to need quite a lot of storage for this behemoth.
Yeah, but you can sort of see the join points there where it's actually breaking apart, so it might not be too bad once it's all broken down, because it is just boxes at that stage.
Still going to need a lot of shelves.
I don't know.
I think you'll be okay.
It is awesome stuff, though, isn't it? I just think it's.
It's
I
going
think
to be
it's
very, very cool.
properly cool. Properly cool.
Right. Let's get stuck in with the rest of the news, if that's okay with you guys. Right, Justin, what is first up for us?
First up, the guys at Warplock have been doing some new minis, which are looking more than a little cool.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Now
of these
this
guys?
is their 2-player starter box spin that they're planning on.
Yeah.
well, it's actually 4-player
Right.
when it comes down to it. So what's going to happen is called the I can't remember what it's called now. It's called the Battle at Troll Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's all about these 4 different factions vying over control of this bridge. So you've got humans, halflings, the orcs, who are called the bi-orcs. So they're sort of a bit more sort of Southern American style. Then you've also got the big troll as well, Old Grog, who counts as a faction in himself. as well.
I love Old Grog. I just think he looks
Yeah.
It's a
absolutely
really gnarly
fabulous.
design.
There's something about the art direction of Arcworld, which is just fabulous. It has that gritty, fantastical feel to the whole thing. I love it. Have you had a chance to look at the game yet, Ben?
I've not had a chance to look at the game myself, but I know a couple of people at my local club have played it, really enjoy the way that it all works. They said it's very fluid, and it works well for multiple players as well, which is why I think they've gone for this 4-player style with this starter box, getting all your mates around the table and playing it. So I'm looking forward to playing it in the new year. I might wait until this big starter box comes out, or I might fall into the trap and pick up some stuff before then, so we'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking at the 4 factions in the box: the humans, the halflings, the Bay-Orcs, and then Old Grog himself.
Are you sure it's the Bay Orcs or Bayou Orcs?
Bioorcs, yeah. 10 dice, tokens, and a 20-page how to play guide.
The images we've been bringing up are only just scratching the surface because there's 5 new human miniatures, 6 new halfling miniatures, 5 Bioorc miniatures.
Yeah.
I mean, class.
Yeah, I reckon.
And that's in one set.
Yeah, this is a starter set. I think it's going to be fabulous. I think
does sound good.
As starter sets go, it's going to. If it does contain all this, and obviously if the price is right, I think this is going to be great crack. I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right, any more to say on it, lads?
No, let's move on.
All right, the next one has me excited. Now, we know the guys at Warlord have been making some winter infantry.
Yes, and we looked at them last week.
They've now done the Germans.
So we were looking at US last week.
Yeah.
Now the Germans. Brilliant. Let's bring them up.
I got to say, I am loving this. You see, I like where Warlord's going with all of these pieces now, because this is all where you really start to get the opportunity to theme up your armies. And one of the interesting things for me is whenever you're playing any war game, right? 2 of the themes that always kind of spring to mind for me are theming for battles in cities and theming for battles in the snow. They're just 2 big epic things, and I really, really like these. And they don't look like they'd be that difficult to paint. What do you reckon, Ben?
Really not, but see, I like it because for me, I'm playing my stuff around sort of the Battle of Bastogne.
Yes.
So this will be perfect for me.
I didn't know you were called Ben.
Didn't know you were called Ben. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Let's try that again. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I collect Germans, and I was thinking, it'd be cool if I had some winter Germans to go fight against all these people who are picking up winter Americans. And lo and behold, that's exactly what Warlord did. So I'll be picking these up, I think. I really like the new style of them, and it all looks like their outfits are all quite block coloured. So you can probably get away with doing it quite easily. So yeah.
Well, winter's not over yet by a long shot. So let's see just how much other winter themed stuff they have to come out. I suppose I have to ask, what do you think, Justin?
Well, I've already said I play around the Battle of Bastogne time, so that was
What's the Battle of Bastogne?
In that. Huh?
What's the Battle of Bastogne?
You've never heard of? All right, you may need to beat this. You've never heard of the Battered Bastards of Bastogne?
No.
From Nuts, if you're looking at Flames of War.
Right. No, I haven't. So.
Right. You've watched Band of Brothers?
Yes.
Right. There was a series, or part of the series in there, where they were fighting in a village during winter, and you had the Germans at the same time.
Yes.
So this would be.
They were on either side of a river or something, were they? Or
yeah. Well, it's the Battle of the Bulge.
Right.
So Bastogne was a town within the Bulge. You know. Ta-da!
Is that the point where they were all in the forest, dug into their kind of little foxholes and stuff?
I'm not sure. I think that was around the Ardennes. I'm not 100% certain, so don't quote me on that.
Okay, right. Well, there you go. There's a ton of opportunities anyway to use these things. You know, whether they are historically accurate or whether there's something that Justin makes up.
It's just like I said last week. I really like the fact that go to the picture that has the troops up.
The main infantry squad, yeah.
I really liked it. It's the opportunity to break up. Like last week I was saying, it's the opportunity to break up the regular colours of America and get some new colours and stuff into it. Here you can get away from the greys and the greeny greys and stuff and get some nice whites and things to really break up your army and stuff.
Yeah.
This is it. You know, it's one of those things, you know, snow battles and stuff, they just look cool. They just look really, really cool.
Last word on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with snow battles. I think it's a great thing to do things in the snow and have that really good contrast between sort of like the red blood of like the fighting and the battles and then their white outfits as well. I think it provides a really interesting and dynamic style for an army. Yeah.
Cool, excellent. Right. Have you something more to say there, Justin?
One last thing. You wouldn't actually need to do out your entire army with this, because if supply lines weren't great, you would have some guys in the winter gear, some guys not. So you could sort of have a mixed army with some guys not in the full winter gear, which would be quite nice too.
They'd probably get trench foot.
They probably would, but you make sure and put snow on all their bases.
Yeah. No. That's fine.
Right.
Not just black bases, Justin, with nothing on them.
That's my Kings of War. Leave it alone.
Right. We've got some more items and stuff to cover, but I'm going to say toodaloo to Warren. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to bring Killian onto the show because it's been a while since we've had Killian on the show, and I've got a feeling he's going to want to talk about some X-Wing.
Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves, and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com. It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Welcome back. Killian, it's been a while since we had you on the show.
Yeah, I'm back. I look vaguely post-Christmas dinner right now. With the
you're looking mildly festive.
Mildly festive.
Yes, I love the attempt and its crapness.
I'm wearing the least Christmassy shirt ever. It's brown, you know.
Let's see that again.
Yep. It does espouse my love of tea, though.
Yes, but the tinsel's a great addition there.
It's all about accessories. Accessories are what sells it.
Ridiculous. Right, guys, what's next up in the news?
The guys at Italeri are doing a Rorke's Drift set.
Ooh!
So this is the Zulu Wars, or if you've seen the movie Zulu with Michael Caine.
Yes, this is the Zulu War.
So we have some images for it, if I bring them up here.
Ben, I'm probably going to come to you first about this.
Okay, here we go.
That's fine.
So here we go. What are we looking at here, Ben?
So yeah, this is it's a pretty massive set. What you get inside here is as you can see here, you've got some fencing and some walls.
Yes.
You also get 90 Zulu warriors,
Right.
40 British infantry,
Yes.
an MDF hospital, which you can see here,
Uh-huh.
and also an MDF supply depot as well, all with inside bits and stuff as well, so you can take the roofs off and fight in them.
And a
So
partridge.
you can set up the scenario from the film and play it out. So
Right.
It is looking really good. Now this is what, 20 mil?
Okay.
yeah, 20 mil, yeah.
Well, I don't see Michael Caine in this photo. He's missing. He's missing in action.
Is he missing in action?
I'm sure they'll release a Michael Caine miniature just to reflect the film at some point in time.
There'll be someone somewhere that'll do it, guaranteed.
Killian, what do you think? Are you excited about the 20 mil sort of Rorke's Drift?
I am, yes. I actually know a bit about the history of this battle, etc., and the Zulu War itself.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
the right
cut
man
over
for
to
the job.
Killian then.
I used to be a student somewhat of military history, and I do know a bit about this.
Uh-huh.
So, first interesting tidbit about this is that this Rorke's Drift happened after a major battle. So this happened after a major battle. The British were basically at war with the Zulus. It all ties back to things to do with diamond mining in like about 1870s. And this battle happened in 1879 during the First Anglo-Zulu War.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a main battle which was called, I might pronounce this wrong, Izinkandaru.
Okay.
Where basically the British commander, a complete guy called Lord Chelmsford, he's a kind of typical British military commander, complete idiot at the time, split up all his forces and moved them off, chased phantom scouts and other guys instead, left his main force in camp more or less undefended, and about 20,000 Zulu warriors just attacked them, and basically...
This is the bit where they all appear over the hill.
Oh, this is before that.
Oh, this is before that?
Yeah, this is before that.
I'm jumping into the movie.
So that actually happened after the main battle. So the main battle happens, and the British are pretty badly beaten.
Yeah.
They fall back to Rorke's Drift with a whole lot of wounded soldiers.
Yes.
And the guy who's in charge of the camp, who I think Michael Caine played, or maybe somebody else played, he was like an administrator of the hospital camp, said there's no way we can get out of here before the Zulus arrive, so we have to make a stand. So they created a big defensive fortification and held out for about 11 hours. The hospital was burned. They had to fall back to the cattle pens, etc. But eventually, for the loss of about 850 Zulus on the field and 17 British soldiers, the Zulus were repelled. Now, the interesting thing was that the main battle, so after to discuss Zulu war tactics here, you'll like this a lot, okay?
Okay.
The Zulu war tactics were espoused by Shaka Zulu, and it's called the bull horns technique, and it's in 3 parts. The chest are the guys who attack straight in the middle. The horns of the bull are the guys who flank around the outside, and they've got a rear contingent known as the loins, okay? The loins are guys who stayed in reserve through the entire battle, so they were well rested. And they were thrown in whenever it became necessary to put in fresh troops.
Yes.
So the guys who attacked the guys at Rorke's Drift were the loins. They were fresh troops. So all these guys coming over the hill had as yet been untested in battle. They were the Zulu
they weren't needed
reserves.
at that
They weren't
point.
needed for the main battle.
Yeah.
The main battle was taken care of. They attacked and then were repelled by the defenders. But it goes down as like one of those... The whole first Zulu war thing was a complete disaster for the British. I mean, the film sort of shows at the end sort of like the British spirit carrying through, but the whole thing was a disaster. It wasn't until much later that Chelmsford called in reinforcements that anything actually happened and the Zulu War continued. The Zulus actually lasted for another 9 years until 1889, I think, which is the end of the Zulu Empire.
Which is a hell of a good going,
it's a
considering
hell
the
of a
British
good going.
Empire was pounding them.
Bear in mind, like, that this was the British Empire at the time being beaten by like a essentially a native population. You know, it's reached mythical status for that.
Well, there's a great disparity between the technology of both cultures.
True, but the Zulu were very well trained. They were a very efficient military force.
Yeah.
They even the whole history they trained from like a pastoral warrior, like a pastoral culture with no real where battle was all ceremonial. It was all done just to sort of claim territory, to a really efficient fighting force. They developed the Assegai spear, the short stabbing spear, which was a big technological leap. They had proper military discipline and tactics. I hope it's actually reflected in this. I can't remember the name of the Zulu commander. I think it's Chagasawaya was the guy who commanded the Zulu contingent in this, or maybe it was his brother. But yeah, I mean, they had proper tactics for this battle as well.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which of the Warlord rule sets they take into this. You know, whether it's going to be bolt action or
this
whether
isn't
it's going
from
to be
Warlord.
black powder.
Is it? No, it's not.
Is Italeri making
Well,
this?
Italeri are quite pally with Warlords.
Yes.
So if
This
you
is
were
their
wanting to play
own
this out-
set.
Well, let me
Yeah.
cut to Ben.
Okay.
Yeah, this is their own set. It's not in any way affiliated with Warlord at the moment, because Warlord do their own
in
Rock
28
Stress set
now.
that you could buy. I think it was a couple of years. I think maybe it was last year. So this is just them picking up some of their old Airfix kits and things. Well, some of their old, not Airfix, some of their old Italeri kits and making them again. Because we had a couple of people in the comments saying that they'd seen those models before and they think they have like a backlog of them somewhere. They're going to put them together and use them. So yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together.
Well, Justin, just while we have the big picture up there, right?
Which one do you want?
No, not that one. That
This one?
picture's perfect.
Okay.
And I know you know quite a lot about Zulus. Can you tell me which ones are the married ones and which ones
I
are
ain't
the
going down this
unmarried?
route because Warren has been plaguing me with this all day. Guys, okay. Let me lay this out for you, okay? Okay? Just hang on,
Here,
hang on,
Justin,
hang on.
I'll help you out. Here's something to help visualize.
Guys, I'm going to let you use the wonderful creation that is Google yourself to learn what is a married Zulu compared to an unmarried
I
Zulu.
don't think we could show that.
This is from
I don't think
Warren.
we could
No,
show
we
that.
couldn't show this.
No,
but if
no.
you go search it for yourself, not my fault. I'm saying not my fault.
But I'm pretty sure you could
Give me that
demonstrate
damn
using this.
Oh, you are useless.
I wasn't ready. I didn't know you were going to pull it. Yeah, I'm the winner!
Yeah, I always lose crackers.
Excellent. Right, I love it. I liked the 28mm version. I'm liking the 20mm version too, Ben, because I'm recently I've been looking at all the smaller scales like 15mm, 20mm and stuff, and kind of enjoying it. What do you think, Ben, for 20mm wargaming for this?
Yeah, I think it allows people to be a bit more realistic with the way in which they portray the armies and things like that. And it's not too different painting-wise from doing 28mm. So you can sort of carry on over all those techniques and stuff that you use for that and use it in 20mm instead. So, yeah. Lots of interesting historical stuff is in 20mm, so good to pick up. So
Excellent. Anybody who's into historicals will love that. Moving on and staying with the small scales, we have new stuff coming out for Team Yankee. It's all terrain stuff now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah!
So now you're going to be able to fight in the Eastern Bloc.
Ben, what do you
Yes.
think?
well, this is their new set of urban stuff, and I'm really liking the look of this. You've got a whole range of different things. So you've got the roads, walls, huge petrol stations, oil tankers, factories and things like that. So you can set up a whole bunch of really cool objectives for your infantry to go and take. And your infantry can actually hide as well from these horrible tanks that are driving around now.
It's good to see Battlefront going all in on this, because I've seen some pictures of the oil tanks. Bring the oil... they're perfect,
There you go.
the oil tanks
I was
up.
just about to bring them up when you cut away.
Just as we were getting ready for the boot camp, these popped up, and then they became sort of inspiration for some of the concrete oil tanks that we made out of like baby tins and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to see them going in and going, right, not only are we going to do miniatures for this, but we're going to do a cool set of terrain. My only thing is, Battlefront, why couldn't you have done it before the boot camp? We had to make loads and loads of Lloydoslavian buildings.
Yeah, well, you see, here's the thing. This is your Lloydoslavian tower block,
here,
right?
yeah. Give you that.
What, if you hold that up to your face, Killian.
Okay.
So there's what we had to start with.
Yes.
Flag of Lloydoslavia there.
Yeah.
The crucial aubergines.
Yes, of course. Now, if you cut to the image, Lloyd,
Okay.
you can now see we have a two-story building and a severe lack of the aubergine.
No!
A severe lack of the Lloydoslavian
But that's
national
all right,
plant.
because
Yeah.
we have a PDF where you can print out all these things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then plaster your lovely terrain in
You
my
can
face.
recreate the Lloydoslovian
so-
battles.
So hang on, you want all the banners of Lloydoslavia everywhere on these.
Yes.
Right,
I think it'd be
guys,
class.
your pictures below, please.
Killian, you're into making terrain and stuff. What do you think?
This was really nice. Battlefield in the box is all pre-painted. It's easy to assemble. It looks really good on the tabletop as well.
Yeah.
This is for 15mm scale, so I mean, it's close enough to other scales that you could use it for, say, lots of different games.
Well, I don't know. Once you see it, I don't know about that. 15 mil and 20 mil are quite different, I think. Well, 10 and 15 mil are very different,
Yeah,
because
10
we've
and
seen that
15.
last week. We were looking at 15 and 20
I think
mil.
you get away with these and maybe some 20 mil as well. You might be able to get away with it.
I don't know. I'm not convinced about that. Maybe you can. Let's go through them all again. So let's start at the start. So
Okay, we'll start at the start with
kits include the petrol station.
Yeah, you've got the petrol station. You've got your concrete walls.
Yes.
You know, for blocking off your roads, giving your infantry something to move up and hide behind.
Yeah.
You've got nice big block and line of sight buildings, so your factories and stuff.
So wait, don't change.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you bought a few kits of those, could you then stack them on top of each other?
I'm not sure. It depends if those components across the top come affixed or not.
Yes.
That was the only thing that would stop
Ben, you don't know if they come in separate bits, do you?
I think it's all one big piece. So you could potentially sort of bodge it maybe, but I don't think it would look particularly. I think it would look a bit weird maybe if you tried to stack them up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if I can make a guess, my guess would be this is going to be that expanded hard foam that the guys use from Battlefield in a Box. Or maybe that cast resin sort of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so it'll be something along those lines for material, I would guess.
It just popped in there when we were looking at it. Okay, next up, Justin.
You've got two different types of road sets. You've got an expansion set, which is giving you T-junctions and crosswalks.
Yes.
And then you have the main road sections, which is going to give you the long straights and the gentle curves that you're going to want just for coming in and out of the city. You then have, of course, your big concrete oil tanks.
Which I really like, actually. They're probably one of my favourite bits. I know that sounds really mundane, Lloyd's going, oil tanks.
But it's the components like that that give you the sense of where you are in the world, because everywhere in the world the architecture has its own sort of style and flavour. So if I'm in, say, Italy, in Venice, I know I'm in Italy and Venice because of the architecture of the buildings.
Yes, and the oil tanks in Venice will look completely different from the oil tanks
Did I say oil tanks? I said generally the building.
Okay.
You know, so you'll have things that jump out at you as being, oh, that's from there, oh, that's from there.
But the oil tanks, Justin.
Yes, these are clearly from Yugoslavia. I'm sure there's a maker's mark on there somewhere.
Class. Was that the last thing on the list?
Well, we also have that the gas station as well.
Yeah, well, bring that
Well,
up.
petrol station. Seeing as we're not in America.
That could really fit in anywhere, though, couldn't it? Nothing about that screams Eastern Europe. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You could use these elsewhere, but it's very well tied in to what they've been doing.
Yeah.
We just need to find some good gaming mats and stuff to plot this stuff on. I see they've been. I don't know if they're gonna. Do they bring out this what is
The
it?
sort of cobbled effect
Yeah, the
stuff?
cobbled stuff.
I don't know.
I know
I'm
that
not
used
sure
to
about
do
that now.
I know they do cobbled roads for the likes of World War II, their Flames of War stuff. Suppose if you have those, you could put a few sections together, and then you've got roads, and you've got like cobbled sections and stuff in between them.
Well, I mean, like what I would do is I would do what we had done and actually go out and hunt down that nice cobbled sort of wallpaper stuff we had.
Yes.
You know, I think that worked really well for it, and then you lay the other stuff across the top of it.
Yeah. Or the alternative is to we have sort of sandpaper and stuff, but we went for sort of the coarse looking stuff, and then it looks like stony sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
like
looks like sort of gravel areas.
scale, it looks about right.
It's mechanical.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna move us on.
Okay.
Because the main reason, Killian, that I wanted you on the show is because we've been looking. There's been an awful lot of new X-Wing stuff popping up. So let's just jump straight into it.
Okay.
What's first up, fellas?
Well, we have this, which is one of the sets with two craft in it. What are these, Killian?
Right, so this is, when you said this has just been announced very recently, this is the Imperial Veteran set. So you may remember one of the previous releases, one of the best releases, were the Imperial Aces and the Rebel Aces. Okay?
Yes.
This is now the Imperial Veterans. This is two more ships that they didn't have in the Imperial Aces, TIE Defender and TIE Bomber. Okay, TIE Defender and TIE Bomber needed a bit of an upgrade to boost to what they got, and they've definitely got it with this set. This is a very nice set.
Okay, now hang on. I've played the TIE Defender.
Yeah.
That thing already feels overpowered to me. You're saying this thing has now got a boost?
TIE Defender.
No, hang on, Lloyd, you remember the game because I played against you.
TIE Defenders are brilliant.
Yeah,
they're really
now it's
good.
got a boost? What the hell?
They got a boost because they cost a lot of points, which is the main thing, and they had one sort of low pilot skill, general availability one, but everything else was a named pilot, quite expensive. Also, they're like a tool of many trades. You paid a lot of points for stuff you would never need, which is where some of the stuff in this box comes into play, and this is nice.
Right, I see.
One of the things you get in this, you get two titles for your TIE Defender, okay? One's the TIE X7, which changes it from like a multi-purpose thing into a dedicated dogfighter. So it takes away things like the cannons, takes away the missiles, gives it an ability where it gets an evade token when it does a maneuver, and this becomes a very scary, very nasty dogfighter.
Yeah.
Also has a negative points cost.
Yes.
So one of the big things that was in Rebel Aces and not in Imperial Aces was a thing called Charlie and Refit for A-Wings,
Okay.
which made A-Wings a bit cheaper, -2 points cost, but took away their missile slot, so made them into dedicated dogfighters. This is the same thing now for TIE Defenders. So you're more likely to see TIE Defenders now because you can get them for a bit cheaper.
That's going to be interesting.
Do you know what I'm liking about this? Is actually when I've been doing up my lists and stuff, the two ships I've been trying to use the most, whether successfully or not, the two ships I've been really aiming at using effectively have been TIE Defenders and TIE Bombers. This is right up my street.
Exactly.
TIE Defenders,
Yep.
because they're just a pain, and,
Yep.
and they've got pretty good shooting. They've got shields and things like that.
Yeah,
Rather than just sitting ducks taking the shots, they've got shields and things.
Yeah.
So I've been fielding them as my dog fighters.
Yes, and they've got a beautiful 4 white K-turn to flip around without getting stress. Oh, nightmare.
Oh yeah, and then I've been using my bombers as basically just shooting magnets. What I tend to do is I tend to fly my bombers up front. People are catching on to this though. I fly my bombers up front, they shoot at them, and I'm sitting thinking, well, that's stupid. They've loads of hull points. It's going to take ages to take them down. And then I fly my defenders in, and while you've shot at them, I try to get my defenders in the position to shoot you because the defenders have pretty good shooting too.
See, I'm trying to remember the last game I played against you, Lloyd, which was quite funny because I think I took Rebels, but it was all X-Wings, and it was only in pilots I had taken.
Yes.
And I remember you had a block of normal TIEs. I think you had at least one TIE Defender.
Yes.
And I think maybe a bomber, or what's the really light one you had?
Phantoms.
I think it was maybe the Phantoms. You were
Phantoms
trying to
Cloak,
use the stealth ability.
Yeah,
And I remember
Did
just-
I get beaten this game? Did I?
I remember I was picking you apart very slowly.
Shh. That's
But it was me trying to go, okay, I have this working with that, working with that, working with that. You know,
Yeah.
so I did have to work for the victory. It wasn't just a rollover.
Yeah.
But it was quite fun.
With that TIE X7 though, you can now probably take. You're kind of limited to maybe 2 TIE Defenders. You could try taking one list. With this, you could probably squeeze in a third of a low pilot skill, so you can have a full wing of TIE Defenders, which would be scary.
that could be
That'd be
nasty.
scary to face across
Okay.
the tabletop.
Yeah.
moving on.
Yeah.
Ben,
What do we
I
have here?
will bring you in a sec, but we're going to move
That's
on
all right.
to this other release. What are we
Yes.
looking at here, Killian?
These are the Wave 8 ships, and there's some very nice stuff in this. This is a very big release. Okay, so we'll go through what we have here.
Okay, I've got it up on the screen for us.
Right, so at the far, we're looking at this, right? At the far left,
Yeah.
that is the Rebel VCX 100 Ghost. The one at the far left, that is the attack shuttle
There
that
you go.
comes with the VCX. Okay, so
Yes.
that's from Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
I'll go to that at the end because it's the most interesting release I've ever.
Okay,
Here.
So
we're going
what you're
right
actually
to
starting is
left.
on people's right.
Okay. On the right then, that is the Jumpmaster 5000. That is essentially a Scum Millennium Falcon for the Scum faction, okay? It's the Punishing one, is like the title for it. It's a very nice ship. It's basically from the expanded universe. It's a bounty hunter ship. It's got a very high pilot skill of 9 for its main pilot, Dengar. It's a large base ship, 2 attack, 2 defense, 5 shield and 4 hull. It's really close to a Falcon in terms of its abilities and stats. Got that
Do you know what I like
turret weapon
about
as well.
this? Is I like the ships recently have been the big base ones have been
Yeah.
getting barrel rolls.
Yeah,
And
this
I've
one's
mentioned
got
it
the bar-
before,
yeah.
that when you barrel roll something as big as that, it really shifts across the table.
Yeah, this thing
it's
definitely
quite scary
moves.
when you see that happen.
Now, it's quite good in that if you give it the Punishing One title, it's suddenly got 3 attack. So it now becomes a very dedicated fighting unit with its barrel roll and its maneuverability, hull and shields. This one is now a proper attacking unit. Dengar, the pilot who comes with this, is scary, okay? So his special ability is that once per round, once he's attacked, he can attack back. He gets a counter-attack ability.
Wait, let me sum this up. Does he get to shoot? Right, he gets to attack,
And then, so he's pilot
and then
skill
if
9.
someone attacks him, he gets to attack again.
Yeah, once per round. So that's 2 shooting per round for
That's
no
nice.
cost, okay? Give him Punishing One, so he's got that 3 attack.
Yeah.
And give him a couple of different upgrades as well. He's going to be scary to face. He's going to be like the scum and villainy Han Solo.
Just before you change, I'm going to bring Ben. Ben, do you know anything about X-Wing? Because I don't want to put you on the spot.
Right. X-Wing, but you guys talking about X-Wing is like me talking about Netrunner to other people where they just glaze over. So, but what I do like is I really like all these new Scum ships because they look really awesome.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to get into X-Wing, I think I'd have to pick up some of these new Scum ships because I just love the look of them more than anything. So yeah.
One of the best things about the Scum faction is that they get illicit droids, illicit upgrades, and illicit crew members that really add a lot of flavour.
Yeah.
So I think this one's going to come with Bossack and Dengar and a couple of other guys.
This is cool because I had absolutely no interest in the Scum
Yeah.
Scum
Well, they were
faction
very
because there just wasn't
underrepresented.
very much there for it. I was then thinking to myself, well, it doesn't feel like a whole lot of variety. This is making it far more appealing, right?
Yes. And they've got 2 releases this month.
They've got
releases,
2. Yeah. So
releases this
what are we
month.
moving on
I
to
think-
now?
Is this the next one
Yep.
for the Scum?
So this is the next one. This is the G1A Starfighter.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like a multi-purpose, versatile starfighter for the Scum faction. It's another expanded universe bounty hunter ship. This one title is the Mist Hunter, I think. Yeah, Mist Hunter for this one. This is an interesting one. So 3 attack, 1 evade. It's sort of slower. It's almost like a heavy fighter.
Aye.
But it's good HUD, good shields, evade, target lock, and focus. An interesting ship. It's flown by Zuckuss, who I used to read Star Wars novels a lot. He was like the comedy bounty hunter, the kind of guy who was inept but somehow managed always to get stuff. And he had a sort of foul-mouthed and somewhat idiotic companion, Forlon the droid. And they're both character upgrades in this. We don't know what they do yet, but I'd expect interesting stuff from them.
Right, so you're expecting shenanigans from this little ship?
This ship's all about shenanigans. It can take a lot of different upgrades, including cloaking devices and tractor beams. Yeah. So this is going to be a nice cloaking device for Scum.
This sounds like kind of I'll just throw this out there. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be the most complicated of the factions. Not that X-Wing's particularly complicated, but when you're saying like all these different options and stuff, it sounds like Scum and Villainy is the one that's going to be. You're going to be playing something, they'll do something, you're like, I didn't expect that.
Scum and Villainy is all about things just that mess with your opponent. One of the classic ones is Dead Man's Switch on fighters. Basically, once the guy dies, he explodes and takes out anything around him at the same time.
Wow.
That's all kind of stuff that Scum and Villainy do.
I gotta get me some of this.
Nah, this one, I like this one a lot.
Forget playing as the Empire, I'm gonna go Rebels. Not Rebels.
Suddenly,
Scum and Villainy.
Suddenly, another year's worth of wages just suddenly frittered away month to month. Oh, there's a new Scum and Villainy release. I must have it. I must.
Well, maybe I'll get some of this stuff for Christmas. A few Christmases ago, I got a lot of X-Wing stuff for Christmas. My other half will not like the sound of this. You'll be like, I bought you loads of stuff. And now you say you want loads more stuff.
Yeah. But it's different stuff. It's different stuff. It's
just
very different stuff. It's useful stuff. I need this stuff. It's very, very nice stuff.
Right, moving on, Killian. What's up next?
Moving on then is the TIE Advanced Prototype.
I believe that's this little buddy.
This is this one here. So this is the TIE Advanced Prototype. It's from Star Wars Rebels TV show.
Yeah.
Basically, this is a slightly different TIE Advanced. It's got 2 attack, 3 evade, 2 shields,
Do we
2
have
hull.
enough pictures of this?
No, not
Go
this
to the first
particular
picture again, just to get it from a different angle.
Okay, I think it's... There we go.
Yeah, because from this angle, it looks really quite different with the whole slopes.
It looks like sort of the half step between a regular TIE and the more modern.
It looks.
Or
it looks stupidly cute. I'm looking at it going, it doesn't look menacing. I just want to stroke it and go, oh.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Wee cute TIE fighter.
You might change your mind once you go up against it, or you take it. It's a very versatile ship, so it boosts barrel roll, target lock, and focus. The TIE Advanced previously was essentially an Imperial ship that behaved like a Rebel ship, had target lock, had shields, things that TIE fighters are not normally known for.
Now, I am interested in this because out of the Imperial forces, TIE Advanced, I just think they're crap. Yeah. I have not found a way of effectively using them. I look at them and go, Darth, why did you fly this? It just doesn't feel very good to me at all. It doesn't feel strong enough. It's just like a halfway house between I can field regular TIEs, lots of them, or I can take defenders, or I can take phantoms with like cloak and stuff, and then I'm looking at advanced and going,
do you have a place at the table, my friend?
I don't know, Killian. What's your views on the advanced TIE fighter, and how do you think this is going to up the ante on it?
So TIE Advanced previously were just they weren't a very good ship. You had this sort of on paper maneuverability of a TIE fighter, shields and strength and abilities of a Rebel fighter like an X-Wing, but it never really played out. Darth Vader was the best thing about that, and he didn't do too well. They got some boosts with the Imperial Raider expansion. They got a couple of different titles in that, one of which was some really good new pilots like Juno Eclipse, and also a nice upgrade that let them take free things like accuracy correctors for no points at all. Made them a lot better. This, though, is a different beast. This one's a different beast. It's got similar stats, but I think it's going to play differently on the actual table. The most important thing about this, though, is its name pilot, the Inquisitor. Okay, this guy's actually scary. This Inquisitor's scary. No matter what range he attacks the enemy at, he always counts as being range 1. So he's always getting 3 dice.
So hang on, he's just rocking in, guns blazing.
That's class. And I see he's got the full complement. He's got boost.
Yep.
He's got barrel roll.
Yep.
He's got target lock.
Yep.
He's got focus.
Yep.
Yes.
And shoots at range 1.
And always
all the
shoots
time.
at range 1.
But I assume his targets still get their own bonuses. So if he's shooting at range 3, I'm still getting my bonus defense dice.
Exactly.
Forget Scum and Villainy. I'm going Imperial.
Lloyd, I think what you need to do right here now is... Right, with me now?
Yes.
I want everything!
I want
everything!
Well, one thing is, though, that it doesn't actually come with evade, but the title that comes with this one allows you to get evade as an action once you perform a target lock, so 2 actions for the price of 1. So
Sorry, run that past me again.
So this comes with the title.
Yes.
Basically, you can give this ship a title, and it means whenever you do a target lock, you get a free evade token.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
That's pretty good.
That is cool. Ben.
Yes.
No, I'm not coming to you. Right, what's up next?
The last one is the big ship, I believe.
Yes, the last one is the Phantom. Phantom and Ghost.
Now, I looked at this and I went, I don't know what the hell that is. And then I read the description and it said it was out of a cartoon. And I went, I don't know what the hell that is because I've never watched the cartoon. What the heck are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is the VCX 1000, okay, which is if you've seen Star Wars Rebels TV show, this is their main ship.
Which I haven't.
Okay. I do encourage you to watch it. It is actually quite a good show. It's for kids, but it is quite good.
So is it a CGI show?
It's a CGI show.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's quite good. It's enjoyable. I'm enjoying it anyway.
Okay, I'm going to give it a look.
So this ship, it's a large base ship, and it's big. This thing's big. It's even bigger than the Imperial...
What, the transport?
No, not the transport.
The Lambda shuttle.
Not the Lambda shuttle. The other one. The
one with the pinsy looking thing.
Okay.
We have one next door, but the name just completely escapes me.
The Dominator or Devastator or something.
I think it's Devastator.
Might be. This is bigger.
Let us
than
know in the comments if we got that wrong.
This is even bigger than it. This is pretty much the limit of what they can do with large base ships.
Well, if you cut to the picture, look how much it hangs over the base.
Well, hang on. If I cut to this other shot,
Yeah.
and you look at the actual base for it, you can actually see some extra struts on here.
Yeah, it's
actually holding it.
It's big. It's very
So that is quite the hefty piece.
It is big.
But it is a beast on the table, okay? It's got 4 attack. So right out the bat, 4 attack, 0 evade, so it's more or less a sitting duck, but then 10 shield and 6 hull. This thing is going to be a beast to take down.
Whoa, did you say 10 shield?
Sorry, no, 6 shield and 10 hull. I got that.
That's it. Even that's
that's
scary. 6 shield and 10 hull.
I don't mind it having 0 evade because you still have to get the hit or the crit on the dice. Yes, I have to take criticals, but that's still not bad.
But the only thing about it is it hasn't got a turret arc, so it's only got the front arc, but it has a special rear arc. And the special rear arc all depends on if you have the shuttle docked to it or not.
I think I actually have a photograph for this. So I think this is what you're on about here.
Yes, so one of the unique things about this ship is that the box itself comes with both the VX-10 and an attack shuttle, which is a fighter in its own right. One of the title upgrades, which is the Ghost, allows you to dock the shuttle in the back, which then gives you the rear arc. But then during the game, you can then launch it after you do a maneuver out the back to surprise opponents. So they think they're coming up in your back to attack you.
Oh, look, the red on my
you
tail.
launch a second fighter out the back.
And if your big ship's down to like the last hull point, you could launch. And
You could
still
just
have your
launch
little
this guy
ship.
and still keep him in the game.
Now in the cartoon, what's it used for? Who's using it? What's it up to?
So this is Star Wars Rebels, and it's about a group of rebels who are based on the planet Lothal in the Outer Rim, and they're essentially just trying to fight the Empire. They've got they've got one kid character who's sort of an emerging Jedi, one young Jedi who survived the war, his girlfriend who is the owner of the ship and the pilot, and then a couple of other crew members as well. All of which, by the way, are represented in this box. They all get pilot titles and they get crew titles, and they're very good. It's a very good box for Rebel players. There's a lot of versatility here. Interesting thing about this now is that basically you take this box, you get a lot of stuff. You can use this with any other Rebel stuff. In fact, I'm looking at this now and I'm seeing the possibility of using this with all the rest of my Rebel ships, especially the crew.
That's scary because the Rebels have a lot of, you could take a Y-wing with a lot of shields and hull. And then this, I don't know. I'm looking at going, where the heck am I going to get enough shooting to take this out? Plus all the other ships I need to be dealing with.
So the standout from this box, right? The standout crew member is Sabine. Okay, so Sabine, if you take her as a crew member, whatever ship you put her in gets bombs. Okay.
What?
So, yeah.
You get bombs?
You get bombs. You can put her in a Millennium Falcon, and the Millennium Falcon gets bombs.
What about this little tiny ship?
When you put her in there, she doesn't get the bomb ability because she's the pilot.
Yes.
So when she's the pilot, I think she can, before she reveals in a maneuver, she can do a free booster barrel roll, which is actually still really good. It makes her very versatile, very maneuverable.
Where you're at on the table.
Yeah, but her real strength is her crew card, right?
Yes.
So imagine you take a B-wing, right, and you take the title that's B-wing E2, so you can put a crew member in it. You put her in that, you now have a B-wing with bombs.
No.
You put her in the Millennium Falcon, you have a Millennium Falcon with bombs.
No.
You put her in a K-wing, right? You have the bombs and the K-wing has normally, okay? But her secondary ability is that whenever a bomb goes off, she does additional damage, and it applies to all friendly bombs.
No. That's it. I'm going Rebels.
I am looking at this quite closely on the big screen
Let
here.
me bring it up.
The ship looks to be costing 63 points, if at a guess here, just from what I can see of this shot. So is that expensive enough for it?
It's pretty expensive. Fancy Flight did say that this ship is designed to be taken with the shuttle and maybe then one other ship. They put up a very nice list, which was this ship, the shuttle, and Big's Darklighter.
That would be the downside of this.
Yeah.
Right? If you take this big ship, the shuttle, and one other ship, it doesn't sound like a particularly exciting game.
No.
It sounds like I'm just going to swarm you and just keep shooting your big ship.
Yeah, but it kind of feels like giant hunting to me because this thing is so tough.
We're going to have to get this in.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this on the table. One of the nice things about it is if one of the other crew members, Zeb, if you put him in this ship,
yes,
you can shoot any ship you're touching. So normally you can't shoot a ship that's in base contact, but if they're touching, they count as range 1, and that's 5 dice being rolled against it. So even the typical tactic of just like going into something and stopping its movement, suddenly this thing's going to be throwing 5 dice right at it.
Yeah, and this thing doesn't really have to worry about hitting stuff because it can just plow right through you.
Exactly. You put a turret weapon on this thing and it's going to be very scary.
Ben,
it's a nice one.
Have you seen this? Have you seen this animated series?
I have not, no, but I've heard some very good things about it. As Killian says, it's been well received by kids and big kids alike, I think.
Based on the new releases and stuff we've just been chatting about, if you were playing X-Wing, what would you be going for?
I still think Scum, as good as this Rebel ship is, I think Scum would be the way for me, because I love the idea of just running a whole bunch of bounty hunters and evil guys that aren't quite evil to the extent of the Imperials.
Bounty hunters are a mixed bunch.
That's all right, Ben, because if you come on over and play Scum, I will hire you to go and fight for me.
Look, I'm quite content. I started as Rebels. I'm sticking with Rebels.
You're going down.
I think as Scum,
you're gonna get this. Then you're just gonna be.
No, if I get this, I'm just planting that on the table, going, right, Lloyd, come at me. Let's see how you're gonna try and beat it this week.
At which point I will just either slap down all my phantoms and go, pew, 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 or just walk off into the sunset and go. Not even gonna bother trying.
What I'm quite liking as well is that as Scum develop into a faction, I'm seeing narrative possibilities with them. Do you remember how we did the Endor game with Rebels and Imperials?
Yeah.
There's a film coming out for Star Wars called Rogue One, which is all about a group of bounty hunters making a heist.
Yes.
I'm seeing possibilities for having Scum versus Imperials or Scum versus Rebels, and a narrative game based around it if we can get the ships.
That does sound good. Now that you mention it, we did a battle report where we took X-Wing to Endor and we flew around
which was quite fun.
in the atmosphere of Endor and attacked the base and stuff. But just during the week there, we put up like a PDF pack of all the sort of rules and in-house rules and things that we come up with. So just as you mentioned it, I thought I would throw it out there and say, go and download it. It'll give you something to be playing over the Christmas break.
It's a fun one to play. You have to set aside time for it though. It's a big game.
You'll need a whole day for it, but it's what a day. I mean, if you check out the live blog where me and Killian just played it all day, we got really excited towards the end. So much so that I kept calling ATATs ATSTs, and I cringe every time. I'm like, no.
I have lost geek credentials. But
X-Wing narrative games like that are a lot of fun. I think we should do more of those. And if Scum develops into a full thing, I'd love to see Scum on the table for a narrative game.
I think narrative games are the way to go, because if you just do a regular fight, it can get a little boring. But not the gameplay wise, but you're just sitting there going, why am I shooting you and why are you shooting me? I tend to put like big ships, even if I'm not using them. I tend to take the likes of the big cruisers and stuff, and slap them in the middle of the table and go, we're having an encounter because I was trying to come in to find out what had happened to my ship, and you've come in to try and raid it and things like this. So I tend to use the big ships as scenery pieces and things, even if I'm not playing with them, because I think it adds flavour to the game and narrative and stuff.
Definitely.
Excellent. Well, it was good to talk about it because it is the Star Wars weekend, and there's going to be loads of people jumping on this X-Wing bandwagon this year.
Definitely. Especially
since I had a Facebook blackout just to make sure that nobody spoiled Star Wars for me. No, not talking to anybody. No, go away.
France got it first, then we got it, then the US got it. I would hate to be in the US trying to wait for everybody else to see that coming.
No, I must see nothing.
Right, Ben, I'm going to cut to you because coming up next is a feature with John Paul Brizzigotti, and I believe you were in the video.
Yes, it was an interview with me, Warren, and John Paul Brizzigotti, and we were talking about one of the new D&D board games that's coming out soon. So
excellent stuff. Right, we're going to take a quick break, tell you about some hubs and stuff, and then we'll be back with the interview. Oh yeah, can't wait.
Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastofwar.com. Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com.
So to tell us about Tyrants of the Underdark, we're joined by John Paul Brittigotti, Chief Executive of Gale Force 9 and Battlefront. We have the Ben, resident board game brain.
I do like my board games, yeah.
So, John Paul, Tyrants of the Underdark, tell us about the game.
The game was created by Peter Lee and the guys at WotC who have done Waterdeep. And they've been working on this kind of behind the scenes for the last few years. And so we've done a co-op product between us. We're soon to be making D&D games of our own, but this is one that they had tucked away for us to work on, and it'll be out early next year.
So what type of game is it then?
It's a combination of a deck building game and a strategic force management system. So you've got a board with pieces that you're moving around in the Underdark, and you have a deck building element that's allowing you to influence, draw cards, play creatures to help you expand and take over the Underdark.
Yeah. So we're how many players?
2 to 4 players.
2 to 4. We're all kind of like drow houses.
Yes, you're each acting as one of the main houses in the drow empire in the main city of Menza Branson. You're choosing a starting location, and you're basically trying to dominate the Underdark in the familiar places from Gauntlgrim to Menza Branson that D&D fans will know. The game board that you work on is a map of the Underdark.
Yeah. So we from a kind of a play style, what we have is, and obviously is this. We have the entire Underdark, or we have the Underdark here. There's all this life that's already in it.
All this strange life.
Yeah.
Different areas of D&D. Yeah. Yeah. Myconoids, fungus, little dark dwarves, dark gnomes. Everyone loves those little mushroom men, the myconids. Yeah, the myconids are very, very cute. But as far as the drow are concerned, everything is beneath them. They believe that all life is just to be used and abused, and pretty much as a drow house, that's the tone that you will be taking as you remove them, as you expand your empire, because if there's, whether they're myconoids or dwarves or ghosts or anybody in the way, you're just going to try and eliminate them and take over.
So as a drow house then, what kind of assets do I have at my disposal? I'm building and maneuvering armies, gradually pushing out the boundaries of where I start.
Yes, on the board, your playing pieces represent your house troops. But in terms of your card deck, depending on the combination of cards you've chosen to play with, the half decks, the game's got demons, elementals, dragons, and drow in it. And so in terms of background, you've got a variety. In terms of playing pieces on the table, a token represents combined forces. So it might be a dragon, it might be an elemental, it might be just drow troops. But to simplify the look, they're represented by drow on the table.
Now, obviously I have my starting point on the board, and it's kind of it spawns out from these nodes, but there's an interesting mechanic there where I can kind of almost send a spy out.
Yeah, your spies. I mean, drow, all the archetypes that you can imagine about sneaky and guile and cunning, that's the drow to the T.
Rogues, all of them.
Yes.
That's their class in D&D.
Cloaks and daggers. The mechanic that allows you to send your major forces out from your house, down tunnels to the next town and so on, is a linear one. You must connect. The spy allows you to deploy additional troops anywhere on the board. But much more entertainingly, it also allows you to mess with other players, because spies are deployed to antagonize, they're deployed to poke, and at some point in the game might also be, assassinating someone or doing something useful. But that whole thing of, I'm just going to put it there to upset the other player, that's a good win for the drow.
Yeah, it's very drow in its approach as well.
Yeah. It is.
So for any of us that are maybe only slightly familiar or not familiar with the D&D universe, can you guys fill us in on what is the Underdark and who are the drow, and then give us an idea of the background setting to the whole game?
The Underdark is the caverns. Drow live underground, along with several other races, dwarves and gnomes, and the Underdark. You have to imagine huge cavern systems that stretch hundreds of miles, and we're not talking caverns like potholing in Wales. We're talking about caverns that are big enough to march armies through. Yeah. And the Underdark is an area in the Forgotten Realms that represents like 300 miles by 500 miles. It's a huge area.
Enormous, yeah.
And down there in varying levels, and they do have the upper Underdark, the middle, the lower, are everything from myconoids, fungus men, who have, they live, they're fungus, they're mushroom men, to the drow cities. And so there is a kind of commerce piece. It's another country, but it lives everything below ground. And down there are varying degrees of bad. It's an inhospitable place, and even the drow don't venture out of their cities without being ready, because, lots of bad stuff lives down there.
All the creepy things like mind flayers and strange things like that.
Hook horrors.
Yes.
Now the setting, the Underdark setting is familiar, but the game itself has also got the last year's worth of 5th edition forces in it. So in the core game, you're playing a drow house, but you're getting market decks and cards to play elementals from the Temple of Elemental Evil, demons from Rage of Demons, and the dragons from the Rise of Tiamat. So that all the material in there is their familiar characters, their familiar artwork. People are going to see a red dragon and say, this is a red dragon, that's a kobold, I know this setting. And the fact that drow are manipulating the dragons to help, or they're manipulating the demons to help, or the demons are running around causing chaos, that fits, if you know your D&D, very well into this place. This has never been an area where everybody's been peaceful and happy and kumbaya. There's no peace in the Underdark. There's varying degrees of pain and suffering and death.
Yeah.
So it's a good setting for houses to compete, because this is it's a competitive setting that you are testing yourself against each other without actually knowing quite how everything's going till right at the end. It's because it's so sneaky, you're so secretive. The game comes down to the very last actions you're going to take, the very last moves, and there's no score tracker, which means that unless you're really good at keeping numbers, you won't know till those last few actions you do whether did you score enough, was that last thing enough, which is, again, very in keeping with the drow style.
That's one of the aspects of this that I was really interested in. Because looking at the board, you have a certain amount of the victory points on there, and obviously the things that you take from other players, but then there's those, like, that secret hoard of victory points that you're like, has he got it? Do I go? There's no like chase that one lead gamer kind of thing. You have to try and play for yourself, but also try and manage everyone else at the same time. So it's a good economy of stuff in the game.
The more we played the games, the more we realized that the finishing scores kept getting really, really close.
Yeah.
And so you stop thinking about, at the end, am I in the lead or not? You just have to execute your plan as best you can and trust that you've done what it takes. Because when you come down to those last few moves, who did what and where was that last 2 points, and then you score, and out of most games you'll finish around 100 points. You could be within 10 points of each other at the top, and that last one, it's that kobold, or it was a dragon, or it was something. But it's very rare to know someone's going to win the game before that final count, and that's a really nice. That's something different. Lots of board games you can see people winning and a result coming, and this just keeps it.
Because there's quite a few different ways of gaining victory points, isn't there? Because obviously there's as we explained, there's the settlements on the board, but then there's the other ways, so you can thin your deck out and stuff.
Thinning your deck, promoting things to your inner circle is a ongoing way of both trimming your deck and getting the double points. Your biggest one is actually your market deck, is what cards you have in your hand. But because people don't have the memory to remember 60 minutes of cards and points, even that can sometimes be a surprise at the end, where you're like, I actually had 2 of those. Well, I have one of this. But it does make for a great finale, and that whole thing of, so even the last spiteful move you make, that last spy you deploy just to rob a point from somebody, it all might count. So you might as well be cruel to the end. It's very good.
Well, I've got to say, having looked through it, seen the artwork, I just was completely blown away by it. I've been spending a good part of this year gradually getting back into D&D and just you know the quantity of artwork in it. Like there's something like 400 cards
400
or something
cards.
in it.
Yep.
And it was just, I really like the mechanic of you're pushing to try and accomplish this push to take over the settlement, but you can't solely concentrate on that. You've got to think about the resources that you've been pulling out of the marketplace and the cards that you have in your hand. Will I promote him because he's worth 8 to me if I promote him, whereas he's only worth 2 to me if he's in my hand? But if I do it too early, then I can't maybe utilize him in other ways.
Use the card because on your deck anymore. You can't use it to put extra things onto the table and stuff like
So,
that.
so I've been looking at it from the point of view of I get to play this game, and I get to learn about the D&D universe all at the same time. I just get to increase my familiarity with the whole thing.
I mean, the artwork's all going to be very familiar because people will have seen the characters from the modules and so on. So there's a certain element of that, but the other side of it is that the speed at the game, your turn is going to take you 30 seconds, a minute, because you're only playing and drawing 5 cards at a time. You're going to start with 10, so you're quick. It's power, it's influence. I'm either deploying troops or assassinating things, or I'm buying things from the deck. I add them to my discard. I'm then doing 5 more cards. I've now used my 10. I'm shuffling. I'm going back through. As the game progresses, it'll take you a little bit longer, but you're still, those 5 cards, you've got time while people are playing. And in a 4-player game, even going through an 80-card market deck or deploying 40 troops, which either can signify the end of the game, will still only take an hour. The half decks in the game, another clever piece that Peter and the guys put in, is that their ability to mix 2 different decks, half decks, to make the market deck changes the dynamics of what's in them. So that the first game we recommend is people play with the Drow and the Dragon deck, but you can mix the Dragon with the Demon with the Elemental, and each time you play, those decks have got a new mechanic in them. So the Elemental deck's got something new. The
and this is
deck,
what adds to the replayability of the game.
yes,
Yeah.
you'll. I mean, it'll be 6 times through by the time you've tried all the permutations, and when you get to about that time, we've probably released the Illithid deck to give you another 40 cards.
So you have plans for supporting releases for the
additional
game as well?
40-card half deck, so that there'll be Illithids and Spiders and Dwergar, more of the people from the Underdark, so that it's 2 decks make the full market deck. So it's any combination of the 2, and each time you play, it'll give you a different feel to the game, and new mechanics added. So the demons add insanity, the elementals have a particular mechanic of their own.
I've got to ask, and it's purely because I'm not completely familiar with the genre, but could I do 425% decks?
No, it's structured that because a half card deck is a new mechanic, the mix of the 80, you'd remove some of the balance. So if you took to only half of the dragon deck, what half do you take? Do you take the half with the big dragons in it, or do you take the half with the kobolds? And you need a 1 and an 8 to
keep the balance of the game.
I think it's quite interesting as well. It's quite something that I think is quite good to draw on, is that as well as it being very good for people who like D&D, it's also a very solid Euro game from the sounds of it, and it will appeal to people who like that kind of game, and they like those kind of deck builders and stuff. So I think,
I mean, this team's made, and Waterdeep's turned into a modern classic, and the idea of the D&D world meeting that Euro-style game, I think it's absolutely an evolution on this, where the deck building and that style of management, but it's that conniving part, that extra bit that the Drow throw in, which will allow, I think, people to explore. If you're familiar with both types of game, it'll appeal. This is not one where the mechanics of the game are going to be complex. It's the strategic planning that you will put in yourself that really changes the outcome of the game. Yeah.
So for anybody that is sitting listening to you guys and going, Euro game? Can you give us a bit of a definition? What defines a Euro game?
Well, a Euro game,
broadly,
from what I understand of it anyway, is it's a game that has the mechanics are very clearly set out, and they would do for a lot of different settings, and they all have there's not a lot of randomness associated with it as well. It's all very, you have the cards in your hand, or you have certain movements that you can do during a turn, and you play those out, and they're all the same for pretty much everybody. I mean, this deck builders are a little different in that respect, that you draw the random cards from the thing, but there's always a set number of actions and a set type of action that you do per turn. So.
And is it important, because the impression I get from the Euro games that I play is that unlike other games where people maybe drop out of the game because they lose early, in a Euro game it goes right to the end, and you never really know who's won until right at the very end.
The part of what distinguishes, Euro to the American style is that Euro play and board games in Europe have been, they were created in the family environment, so it's the games tend to have very little antagonism between players. They're not you follow the rules. I might win because my dice rolling is better, but what you're not doing is player A is not interfering with player B. American games, completely the opposite. Part of, like Spartacus for us, which is the ultimate interference game, is games that are absolutely about messing with your friends and continually poking them all throughout the game, which the Europeans like, I suppose, a calmer set of mechanics, and that's really the difference. Is why a lot of the best Euro games are about farm management or building towns in medieval. The American games are about models that kill things and more death and guns.
The designation of it is Amerithrash, they call it now. That's the thing. So
yes.
So when's it due, and where can we go to find out some more about it?
It will be due in Easter next year, April, all going well. So end of March, April. You'll start to see a lot more visuals in the next few weeks. Once you've got some nice stuff to show off before Christmas, and then in the new year there'll be more gameplay stuff, and I'm sure we'll be getting together to actually play it out and see if you can beat me.
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much, guys, and back over to the studio.
Venture into the dangerous dungeons of myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastsofwar.com and begin your story. Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game.
Okay, D&D stuff's always interesting. It's great to see them coming out with more and more stuff like that.
Yes, that interview is just the first of a couple that myself and Ben have done, where we're just waiting for some images and stuff for the others. But there's a lot of exciting board games on the way from the guys at Gale Force 9. So yeah, looking forward to that. Right, before you get into the Kickstarters, okay, I've got a really interesting Kickstarter article series that has just launched. It's by guys over at Massive Awesome, who are gearing up to do a Kickstarter for a game called Shattered Earth. And they're doing a Fly on the Wall series where they're going to be talking about their whole process to bring the whole thing to Kickstarter and how they get on. We have an article about it from them on the website. Ben, as we scroll through it here, can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, so as you've explained, these guys are doing a Kickstarter for Shattered Earth. This is their sci-fi post-apocalyptic game that's coming out next February. And in the run-up to that, over the next 2 months or so, they're putting together this series where they're going to talk through all the specifics of how to run a Kickstarter, from the really nitty-gritty stuff all the way to the stuff that's a bit more exciting and stuff, so working on the miniatures and things. Because there was nothing out there that really collated it all together, and that's what they want to try and do with this. It's Simon Barlow and John Taylor who are doing this, and we've been chatting with them about it, and they're really excited to get behind all this and sort of show off the steps that they're making, because in their mind, they'll either be steps to greatness for all of the Kickstarters, or there'll be steps to avoid when you come to do your own Kickstarter kind of thing. So,
see, I kind of like this idea because it's not something you really see. Is that how do you do a decent Kickstarter? You know, many people just jump in blind and go, right, let's go, let's do it, let's have a crack at it.
Well, you see, that is the definitive question. You know, is how do you do a decent Kickstarter? And you know, the only answer I can think of, Justin, is you reverse the polarity.
Come on. I explained this last week. I know everybody had a great laugh in the comments. I apologize. I'm stupid.
And for poor old Lloyd sitting there shaking his head, it's not only is it a question of how do you do a great Kickstarter, but Lloyd, the real question of this show is how do you scroll a page effectively on the Weekender? It's not working at all.
But it is working now.
Oh, finally, we've got it working. It's one of those series that I think has the potential to be fascinating because we get kind of the inside track. Like these guys at this stage, they have no idea how this is going to go. So it's one thing, people sitting back saying, "Oh, I'm a Kickstarter expert. Here's how to do a Kickstarter." I wasn't so much interested in that, but whenever we spoke to these guys and they said, well, really what I'm interested in is the fly on the wall. This may go brilliant for you, it may go okay for you, or it may be a catastrophe. But I want to get the inside track on that. I want to see what you guys do and how you deal with the ups and the downs and the incredible amount of work that's involved in a Kickstarter and beyond, because I want them to continue after the Kickstarter as well, so as we can get an understanding of the delivery. I'm
just going to cut back to the screen here, so you can actually look at it now that it is scrolling.
Yeah.
So this is a Kickstarter that is live or going live?
Going live.
It isn't live yet.
No, it's not live yet.
So we are getting the point where they're talking about the run-up to the Kickstarter.
Yes, this is them getting all of their kind of ducks in a row, all of the bits and pieces all worked out. They're learning about things like VAT. They're learning about the insides, the kind of the more technical aspects of Kickstarter itself. So it's a fascinating insight, I think, to watch a Kickstarter experience unfold. And as a community, we get to watch that.
It'd be interesting as they go through the process, how their expectations of what they were going to encounter change during the process.
Yeah.
Because I could sit here and plan all day long how my Kickstarter is going to go, but then it veer off in a completely different direction once they start getting feedback.
Well, what's that very famous quote, Ben? Is all plans are great until the point of first contact.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
No plan to survive contact with the enemy.
Yeah,
there you go.
No plan can survive contact with. And on Kickstarter, your enemy are the backers.
Here's the thing. If you're a Kickstarter backer, you can sit there and go, right, I've backed it, where's my stuff? You don't generally get to see all the pitfalls that can happen, the things that can go wrong. Suddenly something doesn't come in on time, I'm having to split my shipments, now my shipping costs are doubled. It's nice to get behind the scenes on that.
Well, there was some interesting research done. I saw a thread on the site about this where they were talking about failure rates of Kickstarters. And apparently failure rates among the gaming industry, our industry and then the video gaming industry, are actually comparatively lower than failure rates in general. Now, when I'm talking about failure, I'm not talking about failure to fund, I'm talking about failure to deliver
a functional product,
to deliver the end result and the rewards,
yes.
I suppose.
But from a miniatures point of view, the miniatures don't have to move or function or have mechanical parts to them, so that helps. From a gaming, as in video gaming's point of view, it's software driven, so they don't have manufacturing costs and stuff, so that helps. Whereas you get Kickstarters like that. I think there's one about a flying drone with a camera and stuff on it, and they're like, the camera isn't focusing properly and the drone isn't flying as well.
I've got to say,
things like this.
I'm not sure I agree. I think that the biggest weakness in almost all Kickstarters is not really about the processes or the technologies or the manufacturing. I think it always comes down to the actual people themselves that run the Kickstarter. I think that they're always the number one weakness in the thing. They just may be crap at actually doing what they've set out to do, and just have grand ideas of what they want to do, but no idea whatsoever on how to execute it. And Kickstarter is that ultimate expression of ideas versus execution.
But that doesn't explain why we have a good success rate then in video games and miniatures gaming.
Well,
anybody could run a Kickstarter badly.
Yes.
But I'm saying these other people must be hitting more regular pitfalls.
No, it's just more of them. Therefore, you get more. Do you know what I mean? There's more of them. More variety.
Are they not measuring this on a percentage level?
One of the other things that is worth taking into account is Kickstarters that fund at the lower amounts are more likely to fail than Kickstarters that fund at higher amounts. Now, I know that sounds entirely obvious. Oh, if you give me more money, I'm more likely to succeed. Yes, in a way that makes perfect sense. In some instances, not so much, because big Kickstarters, there's a lot more work to do and stuff like that. But what it suggests to me is that even today, so many people or companies that are entering into Kickstarter don't get their sums right. Okay. And I've spoken to Kickstarters who have been very successful, and I have spoken to Kickstarters who have failed. And often my words to the ones that have failed is, you dodged a bullet, because it's better to fail and come back with something that's completely rethought out and do it a different way than it is to just scrape over the line and find out that you got your sums wrong, and then have a world of pain at the end result of it. So
maybe so,
but
this
that's
is
the
another
point.
balancing act.
Other people have more sums to take into account.
no, not necessarily.
Well, you're manufacturing plastic.
Yes, remember,
miniatures,
Kickstarter's
right?
not
So-
only about manufacturing. There's people running Kickstarters for, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to record a CD, I'm going to make a music video. There's a whole plethora of different things that Kickstarter does, and what I think happens in the outside world of kickstarting is it becomes less product focused. Okay, it becomes more, I've got this dream, I want to do this, and then it just kind of petters out. They just don't know how to execute it. They know what the idea is, but they just have no idea how to execute the idea.
We've actually seen one like that on the show a few weeks back. You remember the graphic novel we saw?
Yeah.
Because that was more of a, I've always dreamt of creating this world and sharing it with people.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing you're on about there.
Well,
Sort of.
he is delivering that, though.
Yes,
Yeah, but
I'm saying that's sort of the
there's
style of thing you're on
all
about.
sorts of stuff on Kickstarter. All sorts of stuff on Kickstarter. I think the reason why we maybe have a higher success rate within our industry is because of the fact that it's maybe more defined exactly what has to be delivered. But we do see it in across all the board. The people just not understanding, not getting their sums right. That's probably the number one problem in all Kickstarters that ever fail, is that they don't get their sums right from the start. And it's a very good thing for us to see a relatively low failure rate within our industry, when you consider, as Lloyd says, the number of things that can go wrong. Manufacturing costs go up, material costs go up, postage and delivery, which is always a killer for Kickstarters.
But there's technical things. I'm talking about if you have to make something with working innards, for example, you could have all your sums right for all the plastic materials you need, but then someone make a cogwheel the wrong size.
So if your engineering is off.
One little thing and the whole thing's down the toilet. Because then you don't have enough money to replace that cogwheel.
In however many units that you need to produce.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I'm saying in the gaming industry, we don't suffer that because miniatures generally don't have cogwheels and stuff, driving mechanisms. And in video games,
but they do have tooling costs.
You can change code.
They do have sculptor costs. So you engage a sculptor to make a mini.
Yes, but my point is,
listen, the
it's
mini's
simpler
crap.
to do that.
You have to get it done again.
Well,
it's you engage a company to make a tool, and they get back to you and say, sorry, we just can't do it. And we have seen that in one of the failures, a notorious company saying, we can make this in plastic, and then having to pull out and saying, no, I'm sorry, we don't actually know how to do it after all. So there is a lot of pitfalls. I think at the end of the day, one of the good things about it is that there is a fairly low failure rate, comparatively speaking.
Well, if I can take us back on topic, seeing behind the scenes. Now, a good while ago, you did a behind the scenes series where you were following how miniatures are produced within the industry. Now, before having seen that, I had no idea how many hands actually went in to actually making my one little toy soldier. From going from casting to packing to actually just getting into my hand. It'll be interesting to see that for this, to see how many people are involved with it and how many steps it takes to actually go from, here's my brainchild, here's your beautiful finished piece.
Yeah.
Cool. Ben, do we have any idea what the sort of frequency of these articles might be? I know that's a hard question to answer, but what is there?
Yeah, it's going to be out every week on Tuesdays. Should be out, so watch that for the next couple of weeks before February, and you'll start to see everything come together. One of the important things, especially for this series, is that they're really looking for community involvement and questions to be asked. So if you have anything you want to know about how Kickstarter works, even if it's like a nitty-gritty thing about numbers or whatever, just ask it in the comments, and they are totally on board with getting behind that and maybe putting it into the next week's article and stuff like that. So follow along with this; it'll be really good.
I didn't realize we were going to have this weekly.
Yeah. It'll
be interesting though when the Kickstarter's up and they're in the pressure cooker. They'll be sitting going, "Oh, I have to write an article. Oh, every bloody week."
Yeah. During that month-long Kickstarter campaign, it's we go, "Where's our article? We want to know what's happening."
It'll also be interesting to see, with people having seen behind what's going into this Kickstarter, having more sort of inside information on it, will they be more likely to jump on board and back?
Oh, I don't know. You can never tell on that. All I know is that this is our equivalent of Geordie Shore for Kickstarters. This is as fly as the wall.
Lost interest.
This is as fly as the wall as we're ever going to get. Right, Ben. We have a couple of Kickstarters that we're going to talk about. What are we kicking off with?
Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is from Troll Trader, and this is Rumble Slam. So it's all about wrestling. Yeah.
Okay. So. Right. Well, we'll have a scroll through the page. In the meantime, tell us what's going on.
Okay. So with this one, it's imagine wrestling and fantasy races, smash them together with a sort of slightly Spartacus-esque type fighting thing in the arena. And then you have these two teams fighting it out. You can go from as little as 2 or 3 wrestlers all the way up to 20 wrestlers in a ring at once, like a proper Royal Rumble. And you just smash these teams together and have proper wrestling bouts between the two of them. And they've got lots of different types of arenas and things that you can go through. I mean, they're starting off with a very basic one, which is the typical mat that you would have seen. But they're going on to different ones like castle things, and they might have traps and stuff like that as well later on. The two teams that you get in the starter box are the Heavy Pounders, which are sort of humans, halflings, and ogres. And then the other team are the Green Bruisers, who are orcs, goblins, and trolls.
I tell you what,
the troll
the
is named The Rock.
The troll's called The Rock, isn't he?
He's called The Rock, yeah.
The sculpts aren't half bad, are they?
Yeah,
no, they're
really,
good.
really
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
See, I like this idea. I like seeing regular sports being mashed up with the fantasy world. We already saw it with fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
I'm going to be having a close look at this one just to see what's going into it as well.
Well, there is a pretty good video for this.
Yeah.
It explains.
Will we take a quick peek at it?
Yeah, we can show a little bit of the video.
Okay.
Rumble Slam is a fast-paced fantasy wrestling game designed to be easy to pick up and play with your mates over a nice beverage. Your typical game is expected to last around 40 minutes. A standard game can see anything between 10 and 20 wrestlers in the ring at once, although there is potential for huge games of absolute mayhem with 30 plus wrestlers. Rumble Slam is a game made up of fantasy-themed teams and superstars, including things like orcs, minotaurs, trolls, zombies, and much, much more. The aim of Rumble Slam is to throw the entire opponent's team out of the ring. This can be done while they are still conscious. However, knocking your opponent out first will make the task much easier. Players activate wrestlers alternately, so that everyone is playing the game at all times. Even during an opponent's activation, you'll find yourself rolling dice to try and defend yourself against sucker punches and devastating aerial attacks. Players can use the special crowd-pleasing dice to try and excite the audience in their favour. On successful rolls, the wrestler's unique ability will trigger. This could be anything from boosted stat lines to the whole team receiving a momentary stamina boost. However, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes the crowd just doesn't like you, and on the result of a boo, you'll lose one of your action points. The ring itself can be interacted with in a number of ways. Wrestlers can bounce off the ropes to gain extra movement, or climb the turnbuckle to use their powerful aerial moves. The turnbuckle can also be used as a devastating weapon, as you repeatedly throw your opponent into it, trying to knock out a few teeth.
Well, one of the interesting things for me in that is there's that dice mechanic, Ben, for interacting with the crowd. I think if you're going to do a wrestling game, you have to have something like that. Can you give me a bit of an explanation on how that works, Ben?
Yeah, so the dice in the game are sort of unique in the fact that they have a couple of faces that have got sort of boos and whoops and yays on them and stuff. So during your turn, if you don't particularly want to get in there and start, trying to slam dunk someone into the corner, or that's not a wrestling term, but it is now, then you can sort of jeer up the crowd and stuff, but it might go badly for you, so you end up with minuses, or it might go really well for you and sort of it buoys you up and stuff. So a little bit like how in Blood Bowl you could sort of jeer to the crowd and stuff with the kickoff charts and things like that. So
yeah.
So just before we get into it though, when you mention the crowd and stuff, it immediately makes me think from a hobbyist point of view. I want to get it, and I want to build stands and stuff that represent doing. Because if there's a game that deserves it, there's two games that spring to mind. There's Blood Bowl, because I want to build stands and stuff like that. Yeah. And then there's this, and I'm thinking an arena with actual miniatures and stuff, and I get it all lit up with flames and all sorts of mad stuff. Royal Rumble style.
I do like the idea of showboating to the crowd to actually get them on your side and it giving you bonuses. It's a very, very nice little mechanic to have.
I'm terrified. I'd like to play anybody at this game except for him.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because I just know what'll happen, right?
What?
We'll be sitting there playing, okay?
Okay.
And I'll be winning, okay?
Right.
And
of course, because you're always winning.
He'll get to that point, right, where he's done another bad dice roll, and he'll throw his hands up to the gods, and he'll say, "How am I going to solve this?" "Oh, I know. I'll reverse the polarity." I'm sorry, I'm never going to let him live this down.
I think every time he says that, my IQ drops a couple of points.
That might work. Do you know what? If we turn the board, the miniatures might levitate as well.
But only
because we changed the polarity.
Yeah, you have to reverse the polarity. Go on. Anyway, can I talk about some of the teams that we might be able to unlock? Because the humans and the orky kind of guys look brilliant. But there are some others. So if we scroll down, well, this is the artwork for the humans. Yeah. And then we have, there's the rock peeking out, coming down there. Now, let's keep going. This is where it starts to get interesting. The Timber Fists. I like the Tree Men. Yeah, I like the Tree Men. Scroll down. Okay. The Minotaurs.
Raging Beasts.
I think at that, a team of kind of like Minotaurs.
Oh, here we go.
With the horn. There we go.
Big Thunders, proper dwarven luchadors.
And that looks like a big kind of metal monster in the back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ben,
I like this.
Ben, I'm sure you could, because you could reverse the polarity on that one.
Ben, this is probably your faction we're looking at.
Yeah, we're looking at the dwarves, Ben, the Runic Thunderers.
Yeah, I was scrolling through the page and I was like, well, I quite like the look of the green bruisers, and then I scrolled down and saw the dwarves and was like, well, I know I'm getting these guys if I would get into the game. These would be the guys I get. So
for anyone that doesn't know, if it's Ben and he sees dwarves, it just something in the head goes click, sold.
Yeah. Right. Next up, we have the Deadly Divas, which is an interesting looking faction. Yeah.
We have the Cold Bloods.
The Cold Bloods. That's the lizards. Yeah. The Reptilians.
Yes.
The Furry Fury.
Oh my God! Look at the mankinis.
Yep. You see, the thing is, right? We could talk about. You see, you're looking at this, right? Yeah. And you see, obviously, the females and stuff like that, all in bikinis and the likes, and you think to yourself, where do I stand on that? Because I'm not a fan of armored bikinis and stuff like that.
But this is wrestling.
But this is wrestling.
Yeah.
Everybody looks like that. And now that you see the rat men in mankinis, you go, sold! Yeah. all is perfect.
The genius.
Yes.
In his little blue Y-fronts, basically.
Yes.
His little speedo.
Well, actually, I think the genius wore little pink ones. I think it was. I
think he was blue.
No, it was Mr. Perfect that was wearing the little blue budgie pouch or whatever it was called. So
is this an ancient cartoon or something?
No, this is ancient proper. This was wrestling.
Back
when it was proper wrestling.
All right. See, I'm young enough that I only remember wrestling from whenever Hulk Hogan turned into Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Was that when he reversed the polarity?
Yeah. I'm actually stopping myself making naughty gestures at Warren.
Right. Okay.
Skeleton Mankini.
a skeleton in a mankini. Okay, I'm utterly sold on this. If they get to the point that they do a skeleton in a mankini, I'm going to do my Kings of War army just with skeletons and mankinis.
And suddenly, Ronnie cried out in pain, no, please.
And then keep going, because we have the Twisted Shadows next.
Ooh.
Yeah, just bear with me while I get the...
Okay, that's a...
There we go.
There you go. That's kind of creepy, isn't it?
The little guys are quite cool.
And then we'll talk about the superstars and stuff like that another time. But
They look like alien greys.
yeah.
Oh, the superstars!
Oh, hang on.
We're going to skip
Gun.
these. Oh, well.
Or Hulk Hogan.
Well,
Hell yeah.
it's some of the names like Python.
Gravedigger is obviously a take on Undertaker.
Yeah, they have Tavern in there, which is a dwarf drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then they have Trihorn. Who's
Okay, that's enough.
I think the levels of cheesiness just got kicked up a notch.
well, it's Trihorn. He's some
Yeah.
kind of Stegosaurus, really, isn't he? So it's like,
Isn't he just?
he's actually a Triceratops. I know that. I was just trying to reverse the polarity of it. So it's like- Anyway, for me, this is definitely one to watch. I think it could be a lot of fun. You know, wrestling games.
Yeah, they've got Bondre the Giant in here.
Bondre?
Yeah.
Where, that's Big Andy the Giant, yeah. it's cool stuff. It's cool stuff.
Andre the Giant.
Oh,
Right. I have one more little Kickstarter. This is one that I've been excited about. I was excited at the start of the show. I think AJ let out a yelp of joy at the prospect of 4 ground buildings coming in 40k scale.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm a big lover of. It's called Boomblastic. It's by War Games Bakery. Okay, and it's little muzzle flashes and stuff like that for your weapons. Now, many of you guys will remember Armorcast of old used to do these, but they were in metal and stuff like that. And every time, especially the rocket launcher guys, because you got the rocket launcher bit and you plugged it in, and you mean many's always went whoop like that.
But they looked amazing.
They did look amazing.
If I remember, I think Blue Demon did them as well at the time.
Blue Demon, I think, did them for a while as well. These are the best that they have ever been.
Well, let's have a look. We'll scroll down.
Now look at the bullet coming out at the end of this guy.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's the little details on this. They have little sculpted aspects to it, like the bullet and stuff like that, that I think just makes these really, really worth that second look. Also, they're resin. They're a lightweight resin, so your minis will not fall over anytime that you put these things on.
Yeah.
Ben, you've been working on some new miniatures and stuff. This sort of thing tickle you?
Yeah, the reason this sort of came up, and I was looking at this and I was like, well, this is really interesting, is that I was looking at the old like Rogue Trader style boxes and those massive comic gun blasts that they used to do for the bolters. This fits in just so perfectly with that, and you could make some really cool, awesome sort of cartoon style dioramas with these. It'd be so amazing, and the spell casting stuff as well would be great as well for fantasy things. So
for me, I just want some of this for my 40k armies. You know, it's I'm enjoying my journey into 40k immensely, but it's little details like this.
I have to admit, just as we scroll down to this guy with the bolter, it does look a lot more live.
Doesn't it?
And
it does,
and action-packed with that going on.
You see, I was looking there as we were scrolling down, and I saw they actually do a smoke cloud. Now, what I'd like to do with that is actually take some of my War Machine minis that, have the wee chimneys on the back of the backpacks and stuff, and stick them onto that, just to give them a wee bit more life.
Yes.
Which I think could be quite nice.
Or you could take one of your Kings of War ogres and have it coming out of his butt.
Why?
Why don't they have that on here? Why? I wonder.
And he's not fluffing. He's just, his bum likes you and he's blowing you a kiss.
Guys,
what? Where are we going now?
I'm in full-on Christmas mode. All my jokes come out of a cracker. Right? Now, scroll down. This is one here. Look at this one here, right? Do you see the double bolter? But do you see the way that the 2 bullets are at different points?
Yes.
And that represents the bolter going...
I think you'll find
Isn't
that's a
that
storm
kinda
bolter.
cool?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they're all bolters to me. So
Yeah.
I think they even have it painted up. Look
Yeah,
at
here we
that.
go.
Here we go.
That works
Look
really
at
well.
that. Isn't that
actually works
nice?
Really, really well.
Isn't
That's
that
cool.
nice?
And it's quite striking against that white Terminator.
Yeah. So I tell you what, as a Kickstarter scores an absolute 0 for originality because we have seen it all
But
before.
that's what I don't understand.
However,
I don't understand why it needs to be a Kickstarter.
well, because they've done the development. Sorry there, Justin.
Right in the schnoz.
Because they've done the development. They've done the development. For small companies like this, the development is one of the more. It's not cash intensive because they're probably doing it in house.
Okay.
So they've done all that development. They've got it to this stage. Now their big investment is in actually getting production. So they have to invest in their resin, they have to invest in their RTV rubbers,
Yeah.
they have to invest, possibly these guys might be trying to do some kind of a centrifugal kind of casting process, so they may have to invest in a machine or something like
is
that.
it now just volume to get more of it out to people then?
Yes, basically it's the equipment
yeah.
cost for a small company is the hard one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it looks class. I mean, look, we're looking at this big heavy bolter type thing going on here.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting just thinking, well, if you're just casting this stuff, I don't understand why you need to necessarily go. But you've been describing it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
you might want to do that.
You see, the other problem is they could also run the risk of if a machine goes down.
Yeah.
Right, and if a machine goes down, well, clearly they probably it's never occurred to them that all they have to do is reverse the polarity. So they'll have to buy.
Give me a nice Christmas gift.
They'll have to buy another machine.
Oh,
so
here we
it's,
go. Ben, scroll down to the flamethrowers.
Yeah, the flamethrower is very,
so
very
nice.
cool.
That is so sweet. Ben, you got any miniatures that you want to put flames on?
Yeah, I've got plenty of these new Emperor's Children that need some flamethrower effects and stuff like that, and especially the rocket launcher ones. Really want those on my stuff. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Oh, look at the dual flamer.
I know.
Oh, that's just class, actually.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's. Do you know what the Calth set, 30k with this stuff added
That
on.
could be quite cool.
Proper retro. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. What else is there to say?
Proper retro stuff.
I tell you what else there is to say.
Oh, there's more.
It's time for us to wish these folk a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Oh, yes, because I don't think I've done it. You ready? Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yeah.
If you're a backstager, we might see you on Boxing Day, possibly. If we're not
Well,
totally
we have
hungover
to drag
from Turkey.
him out by his feet.
Yeah, we'll drag him in by his feet.
This is what you're going to see me like on the Boxing Day.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's okay. We'll reverse the polarity and you'll be
come
fine.
on. So
Yeah.
is this a new tradition? You're going to have to crowbar this into at least once in every show now?
At least once.
At least once in every show we will do
Right.
it. Anyway.
I'm going to wrap the show because
Yep.
we have an XLBS and stuff to do. If you're new to the show, come on over and watch the XLBS as well. There's like a free 7-day free trial that you can take. It's a whole other show. It's not an extended version of this show. It's another version of this show. So we'd love you to come on over, watch that, and then we hope you all have a really good Christmas.
Yeah.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com.